For some reason, even before we lost Derek J. Wyatt, Animated has had a strange case of face guarding and gatekeeping among some fans. Mainly on the designs for some reason. They want modern toys of it, but are horribly critical when Hasbro tries to take a swing at it. I mean, give them a chance, man. Just give them a little bit of a chance. What I'm talking about is the absolute fandom uproar that happened when Legacy Animated Bumblebee got leaked. Mind you, this toy was only leaked, meaning it was mistransformed, and we didn't have any official product images, which is why this is already a problem. As soon as that leaked picture went out, this toy spread discourse and arguments like wildfire, and it was quite a shitty affair. Hell, Twitter threads erupted with more animosity than the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef that's going on right now. Just imagine how that would have played out in All Spark chat.
Bitch, I don't step on nobody's shoes. I don't step on his shoes.
Man, shut your bitch ass up. Bumblebee sucks ass.
Shut your ass up, broke bitch.
I know the group that started this, and with the more recent events that played out in the toy's eventual release, they kind of look like pretty big assholes right now. But anyway, we got two animated Bumblebees to talk about in the house today, so we're going to take a look at both and see how we've gone on. We'll go chronologically, so we're going to start with the animated 2008 Bumblebee, which is a fun toy. I have a lot of love for this guy, and the reason why is because he was my first animated toy. But anyway, we've got him in vehicle mode here, and we've got a little hatchback car. Kind of in the veins of a Chevy Aveo, maybe a Civic, or hell, even a Chevy Sonic. Yep, it's cool, but it's also just a little car. That also happens to be a police cruiser. Yeah, for some reason, this is Captain Fanzone's squad car in the show, as if he's just slapped one of those big plug-in lights on top of his daily driver. But in all seriousness, that's probably what he did, since Bumblebee is just like... By the way, this is a crime, so maybe don't do that. Anyways, for detailing, it's very unapologetically cartoony, and I love that. The details are soft, but you can definitely tell he's got headlights, a grille, a racing stripe, and hell, he's got really good molded in wheels. Anyways, all anyone ever wants to talk about is the yellow on this toy, because it's kind of irritating looking, but that's just because it doesn't match completely. Part of it's plastic and the other part of it's painted over translucent plastic. The nerve. I swear, those inserts that they just came up with were under their nose the entire time. And when they figured it out, it had to have been like the discovery of fire or inventing the wheel, because this is a monumental change in how we have our Transformers now. Also, for the longest time, I couldn't tell if his headlights were painted or not. Turns out they are, just they're light reactive for some reason. As for features, well, he rolls really good for a 2000s toy. He's got a trunk, which you might be able to fit a dead body inside. And he's got his speed boosters, which, even though they're not accurately colored, I do think they look a lot better than what they do in the cartoon. I mean, they're just yellow and black. Where's the fun in that? But overall, I really like his car mode. I'm a pretty big fan. Even when it's $13 more and a third of the size. Well, here's the Legacy one in all its glory. Now, elephant in the room, this guy is tiny. This is worth $22? But we knew that was going to happen. These lines recently have been going for more of a scale first, price second type thing. You're paying for the character, not the size these days. If you're smaller, you're going to be a deluxe, even if you're smaller than most deluxes. But hey, it's pretty faithful. It's hitting all the right beats and almost all the details the same. They even used translucent plastic again on the roof, but I don't think they could have done the inserts at this size. One thing that does piss me off, though, is the hinge exposure. What the hell, man? You were going so well. And I know it doesn't just bother me, because when I was showing these to my family to just compare the size and price differences, my grandma said, "Why is this hinge thing here?" Ugh. They did paint in his grille and fascias, though, so that's cool. But only to sacrifice the taillights. Damn it, Hasbro. But I gotta give them props for actually painting his wheels and pinning them in. You really don't see that much anymore. For features, you've got his rockets again, and they plug in very nicely to the side, but you can also slap his stingers onto the back of them so you don't lose them. But apparently, you can't stop my dumb ass, because I've had the toy for a week and I've already lost one. Definitely a skill issue. And of course, he rolls pretty good. So which vehicle mode do I like more? Honestly, they both have their bright spots, so it's a bit of a toss-up. They both do things a little bit different proportionally, but I like both of them for the most part. And to be fair, if you took both of their good things and put them into one toy, you might just get the best representation of the character. But that about wraps up their vehicle modes, so let's transform them. So the OG animated Bee goes for a completely animation accurate transformation where his legs unflip to reveal, well, a fake ass chest, but don't mind that. It's just a sacrifice made to make the robot mode look better. He even does the correct upside down bumper thing with his feet, and I really think that goes for his favor because it honestly provides a more stable robot mode that way. But the Legacy one seems to follow a different path. Yeah, it's got some of the same beats in certain spots, but it definitely borrows a lot more from the Generation 1 style modernized Bumblebees, like the way the back works is kind of MP, and the way the chest works is a little bit of classics. So you could say it's a more modernized take. And the robot modes are definitely the best part of both of these. We'll go with the OG one first because once again, it's the first one. And honestly, I've always loved this guy. Every time I see him, it takes me back to my childhood. Which makes sense because Bee was the first toy I got from every toy line that came out back then. But anyway, the robot mode is great. One thing I've always loved about this design is despite it being very much its own thing, it's still incredibly close to G1 with how the chest and feet are. And really the head too. I've always loved that shit-eating grin on his face. It always makes me think he knows something that I don't. The only thing is, for detailing, we ain't got much going on. I mean, yellow plastic kind of absorbs all the detail, but that's kind of his cartoony nature. But there's also not much molded in either. Most of it that is just panel lined around the crotch, which is accurate. Also, for some reason, this has become a petty critique of animated Bee toys when the black stripe is on the wrong side. And to that, I say, shut up. Like, why are we being so anal about where the stripe is? Anal. That's just how he transforms. If you're taking his transformation into consideration, it makes way more sense for it to go the other way. But one thing on this toy that didn't make sense to me was, why is this a separate piece? I still don't get that. As for features, he's got light piping, albeit not fantastic light piping. And you can switch his hands around for the stinger cannons, which honestly works so well here. They look really good too in these colors because one, they're accurate, and two, they match the boosters, which I can only assume is because they were on the same sprue, but whatever. Also, they merge together, which is just icing on the cake for me. And as I said, he's also got the boosters that you can attach to his back. Articulation on animated Bee is where a lot of people draw contention with this figure for some reason. He's got a ball joint and a hinge at the head, and you can move it just about all around, like so. It's good. The arms are where the real problem begins. So you can go all the way around, but your outward movement isn't here. It's when you push the arm forward and then you get an outward movement. That's not great. And then he has no bicep swivel, so you're kind of just stuck with that. Like, that's the most dynamic his arm can get. And that's honestly, yeah, that's literally all you get in terms of dynamic poses with his arms. So there's not a lot to write home about there. He's got a waist swivel. His legs, his hips are on ball joints. He has no thigh swivel. His swivel's at his shin for some freaking reason. I don't get that. That's not even transformation related. It's just a weird element of articulation. The knees go to 90 degrees, and this is an annoying part of this toy as well. You may have noticed on the transformation, these I had off for a brief moment. They are spring loaded, but you can move them around for posing and transformation, but they just like to, yeah, just like that. At the drop of a dime, these things fly off, especially when you're coming from vehicle or robot. They do not like to stay on very well. Yeah, there you go. So the feet, they're the upside down parts of the bumper. So you can go all the way back, all the way forward, and they can tilt. So the feet are not that bad. Overall, besides the arms, he's really not that bad. Now, as we get to the Legacy one, let me ask you, this is what you were complaining about? God, some of you need a break from the internet. Read a book or something. Jeez. This robot mode is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I swear the only reason people started talking shit is because, one, people with a following were the ones who started all this, and two, it was a stolen copy that had been mistransformed. Like, watch this. Here it is, mistransformed like it was in the picture. All you gotta do is move the arms down, and look at that. It's fixed. Stop stop bitching. But anyway, this guy is a pretty good representation of animated Bee in a crossover situation. I once heard that people thought his head sculpt wasn't animated or G1 enough. Again, shut up and look at this. Yeah, sure, he's not animated enough. He honestly is a dead ringer. He's exactly what I wanted from modern adaptations of animated figures, with a mix of cartoon aesthetics with greeblies. Mostly on the crotch and forearms once again. Also, I really like how small the chest is relative to his head. It gives me just the right feel. Also, since he's small, I wanted to give you a good look next to a few different size classes just to show you where he stands in comparison to the rest of the line. And here he is with the rest of the animated figures, and I just love this. This is great. I love that we're slowly coming together. Now, give us Bulkhead. Please give us Bulkhead, and not from the Prime one. Now, there is one thing that really pisses me off about this toy. I hope you can see this, but there is translucent plastic surrounding the hinge that his arm is on. So this toy is basically a ticking time bomb. I swear, one of these days I'm going to go to grab this toy to pose it, and it's going to explode on me. For features, you've got the rocket boosters again, but everything else is a little bit different. The way the stingers work, you can't pose them in a natural way with them separated, and honestly, I really hate that. He should be able to pose with them separated. I'm sorry, that's just a given. But when you put them together, they look really good, and I'd show it to you if I had both of them. So I hope you're fine with settling for a picture. And lastly, you can slap the stinger and rocket together to make some kind of blaster. And honestly, I think it looks really cool. Kind of like this retro space gun vibe, and I'm really digging it.
I got the ray gun. Oh.
Articulation on this Bumblebee is actually better. The head is once again on a ball joint, just no hinge. It's really tight on mine, but you can definitely get it to move. The arms are on that weird hinge, so you can go forward and back like that. You can go back like that, but you can go forward like so. And then you can do some little shifting here and there. There's a bicep swivel, and the elbow is a little bit jank. But it's fine, it's fine. He's got a waist swivel, which is nice. He's got a thigh swivel, and his thighs or his hips are universal. His knees go about that far, and then his toe goes inward, and he's got what appears to be a ratcheted hip that only goes out, or ratcheted hip, a ratcheted pivot, which can go out about that much. So that's really not bad, and you can get some pretty good poses with him. He's actually really dynamic. So I really like how he can pose. Now, of the two, which am I going to pick? This is honestly a very hard Legacy. I gotta go with the Legacy one. I mean, it's just so much better overall. The posing is good. I like how small he is compared to his co-stars and the entire line as a whole. And he's just fun to mess with. Now, that's not to say that the old one's not fun. I mean, if you get a chance, pick it up too. But for my money, I'm definitely gonna go with the new one. I really like how it turned out. But overall, both of these toys are great. With that being said, keep growing your collections. Treebot out.